Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. I'm recording this from Great Falls National Park in Maryland. I've got the branch or a side branch of the Potomac River over here to my right. And I expect I'll eventually get to an overlook of the falls. It's not the best overlook. It's actually the best overlook is from the other side of the river. But there's a couple of interesting cascades on the way there. And plus, it's fall foliage. My last video from Shenandoah National Park, I expected or hoped to get some fall foliage. I was disappointed. It's just about hitting peak now. That was 2 weeks ago. Today's October 27th, so it's about another week or so maybe of foliage. You know, it was late in arriving and it's going to be quick to go. So I'm out here to try and catch some shots. So let's see what we get. This is a stretch of what used to be part of, I think it's the B&O Canal system. It runs alongside the Potomac River and was a main source of transportation for quite a long time because the Potomac itself is pretty wild, very difficult to navigate. So this canal was built right next to it and certainly made much easier transportation of goods and services and people for that matter. All right, so moving on. So I hope you can hear me over the waterfall noise. This cascade, this is not the Great Cascade. This actually waterfall was built over what used to be a cement mill right over here. So that's why you have obviously artificial, walls and such over here. But still, it's an interesting cascade. This part over here, I think, is natural. I shot it here 2 years ago in the springtime. Obviously now in fall it's very different. So I'm going to put on maybe a 3-stop ND filter because I want to slow the waterfall down to about maybe 1/2 a second. So probably a 6-stop ND filter will do. Fortunately, the weather is kind of cloudy, which is perfect for cascade shots because it eliminates the harsh highlights that would be there. So let me put the filter on and then I'll get right back to you. So I decided to go with a 3-stop filter because the 6-stop was just too much. 3 stops gives me 0.6 of a second at f11 and ISO 100, which is perfect for this shot. So I'm going to focus stack, taking 3 images. One, I'm going to focus on the rock that's right in the front. 2-second timer. Next, I'm going to focus on the cascade. Third one, I want to focus on the rear cascade. And that should do it. So here's a shot. And then I'm going to turn the camera around and focus on the other side because the cascade looks very interesting. I usually don't shoot down cascades, but in this case, because the foliage is in the background, I think it's going to make a pretty nice shot. So I'm going to set it up now and then get back to you. Okay, so now I've moved to the other side of the overpass, and I'm shooting down the cascade, as I said. Now, one thing I didn't really demonstrate before was the use of the Polarizer filter. As you can see here, there's quite a, facing in towards the sun, and there's quite a bit of reflection. If I turn the filter like so, you can see the effect that it has on the water and the highlights and the foliage. I mean, that right there is maximum. I'm probably going to shoot it a little bit less just to get a little bit of more detail in the dark areas of the water. But I think this is going to be fine. I'm going to focus stack this also because, again, I've got a certain amount of distance between myself and the waterfalls. So again, I'm going to focus stack this, focusing first on the rocks that are right in the foreground. Then on the middle, again, my settings are the same as before, FLM 6/10 of a second, ISO 100. And the third one, we'll shoot, focus towards the back. And if that works out, here's the shot. Well, as you can see, the sun has come out. Still kind of cloudy, but it's not that great for cascade photography now. So it's a good thing I got the shots when I did. I'm going to move on and see what I can get further up the trail. The overlook to the great waterfalls ahead. All right, so I moved further down the boardwalk. I'm at another overpass. This interesting overlook. Actually, I'm going to show you as well. I've zoomed out because if I zoom out here, you can see how far away I am from everything. But since the sky is kind of boring, I'm going to cut it out. I've cropped it down to there, and now I'm going to use my circular polarizer to see if I can fine tune the color a bit. Now that actually brings out the most color. I might do 2 exposures, one with the polarizer turned all the way so I can maximize the color in the foliage. I'm going to take this right now. I'm at 1/40th of a second f11, ISO 100. Maybe I'll raise that shutter speed to, or lower the shutter speed to 1/30th, just to bring the highlights up just a little bit. So here's the first shot. Again, messing around with the polarizer a little bit. All right. And now I'm going to reduce the polarization some, just to bring up more detail in the water. And my final result, you're going to see right here. All right, so I moved further down the boardwalk and I also switched lenses. I've gone to the 24 to 105 because I want to focus on this tree that's right over here and the pool that's below it. Also want to catch some of the trees that are over here in the background, but really this tree is the main subject, and I like the V shape formed by the rocks there. So I've moved the polarizer to kind of maximize the color. Let me just double check that I did so. Yeah, it looks pretty good. All right, so here's the shot. I'm going to focus stack this. Well, actually, first, since I already took a stack, I'm going to shoot with my hand just to separate it. And now I'm going to focus on the rocks in the foreground. And the tree. Also forgot to mention, I pre-cropped this in camera to a square, but of course I could make that a little bit later, something else later. And if it's any good, here's the shot. so here is Great Falls. This overlook is very crowded. You'll probably hear a lot of chatter all around me. And frankly, this light is not the best. It's actually almost directly into the sun. Not into the sun, I mean away from the sun. So the sun is shining directly on the waterfall. It's just not an attractive photo. So I am not probably going to do anything with this. The waterfall is interesting, but the light is terrible. I really need something more side lit, so I'm not going to take a shot here. Instead, I'm going to head back up the trail the other way and see if I can come up with some decent woodland images. Yeah, the lighting on that waterfall is pretty terrible. I mean, it's nice to look at, but photography, not good. So I'm heading back across the boardwalk to the trail that leads to this island. This is Olmsted Island, and I'm going to leave the island and head back up the trail and see if I can find some decent woodland images. All right, so I've left Olmsted Island. I've come back down the trail further along this branch of the Potomac. And this thing looks kind of interesting. They've got a nice S-curve formed by the water here. I've probably want to crop this down to maybe either square or 4x3. It's kind of the classic format. I've turned the polarizer. You can see here. I've this way he kind of maximizes the color. The light's kind of harsh. I don't know how many more shots I'm going to be able to get today, but I think this will work. So I'm going to take my first exposure. Well, actually, let me straighten the camera up because I'm a little bit off kilter. There we go. All right, so I reframed it a little bit. Here's the first shot. My settings are f11, ISO 100, and 1/25th of a second with the polarizer on. And actually, I want to focus stack this because, again, let me just shoot my hand to separate the shots. So I'm going to focus stack this again. First on the foreground. Then the midground. And last, the background. And if this shot's any good, here it is. Well, I just noticed I had my mic jack plugged into the wrong port on my receiver. I don't know what the sound's going to be like, but whatever. Anyway, here I've just turned the camera around back upriver. And again, the light is very harsh. I don't know how this is going to work out. I mean, the scene is pretty, again, to look at. I don't know how it is for photography. I'm turning the polarizer around just to see if I can maximize the color. That's about as good as I'm going to get. So, again, my settings are f11, 1/25th of a second, ISO 100. I don't think I'm going to focus stack this because everything is kind of far away. I don't really have a foreground element of interest, so I'm just going to focus on the midground, take the shot. Let me know if it's any good, and I'm going to move on. So hi there. It seems that when I filmed my in the field outro, I forgot to turn the camera on. So instead, I'm doing it here. Thanks for joining me for this little adventure. I really enjoyed that hike out there in Great Falls National Park, and I hope you did too. If you want to see more of such content, please give me a subscription if you're not already subscribed. Hit the notification bell that's right down here, and I'd also appreciate any comments that you may have. I appreciate every one of you, and I'll see you again real soon. Bye now.